isn't this spectacular?
This is amazing.
Yes, quite the sight. Though it doesn't look like any of the signs.
Interesting. I checked the Pupus decks, and it appears that this place is called the Majestic Lake.
I guess it is pretty majestic. Does the water look weird to you?
Doesn't seem that majestic. I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of any of these places before.
It appears there should be a museum nearby. Maybe we check it for answers.
Hello, I'm Sanitation Bot, and welcome to the Majestic Museum. We pride ourselves on...
All right, that was unnecessary.
Who said that?
Hello, I am Tour Guide 3.0. I am the AI tour guide at the Majestic Lake Museum, previously known as the Grand Canyon Museum. Weapons and violence are not permitted in the museum. You shot one of our janitors.
How was I supposed to know that? He was coming right at us.
To greet you.
Hey, I took a shot at being a hero.
I'm sorry. You said previously known as the Grand Canyon? That lake out there was a giant canyon?
The Giant Canyon. As I was saying, I am the tour guide for this museum, dedicated to teaching patrons the rich history of Earth in its final days.
Oh, I've been very interested in the collapse of human civilization. Strangely, the Pupus Dex hasn't been able to find much on the subject. Captain, what do you say?
Okay, but no more robots.
The end of the world was first prophesied to occur in the year 2012. Little did humans know it would happen in the year 2080. A deadly combination of greed and the pursuit of continuous growth led to a world population of 12 billion by year 2042, which was unsustainable per world resources.
Hold on. I did the math out, and by my calculations, there should have been enough resources for every person on Earth. How could that have happened?
To reiterate, there were plenty of resources to service all of mankind. Unfortunately, by the year 2030, most resources were controlled by private enterprises, the social elite, and the government.
Sounds familiar.
But what about the people? I'm sure some people must have tried to fight back against such tyranny and classism. How could that have happened?
Unfortunately, money was one of the most contested resources held by the aforementioned controlling bodies. By keeping the population on the brink of poverty and constantly distracted, people were unable to see the larger problems surrounding them.
But what I'm saying is, if they were led by a true democracy, why didn't they just elect better leaders and focus more on helping the people?
Money.
You mean to tell me that the will of 12 billion humans was simultaneously crushed by a select few with a lot of money? That everyone on Earth knew about the problems plaguing them but lacked any real power to do anything because of some big wigs with money?
Alright, moving on. What began as colder winters and hotter summers led to frigid temperatures and extreme heat waves that made some places unlivable. This forced more of the population on top of one another, as essential building blocks to food chains began to dwindle. As the ozone layer was stripped away, more forceful hurricanes, wildfires, and floods erupted around the world.
And even after all this, nobody. Yep, okay. Got it. No money.
The effects of climate change weren't just destructive forces of nature upon the land. They had far-reaching effects that rippled across the global economy as people were left without basic necessities such as shelter, electricity, running water, and the internet.
What's the internet?
I can field this one. Humans became interconnected through a network known as the World Wide Web, or the Internet. Similar to the Pupus decks, they could research and look up information on just about anything you can think of. Unlike the Pupus decks, they used it to mostly order food and send pictures of their genitals.
The loss of the internet meant the loss of reliable information. It became easier to deny the effects of global warming when some could not refute the matter and others did not care to try. Many governments went to great lengths to censor populations' knowledge. Please sit down. As resources began to dwindle, people formed factions and began fighting for the last of everything. Battles were fought for the last chicken. Thousands were killed for the last cow. Rising ocean temperatures and the depletion of life led to overfishing of the oceans, causing them to be laid bare. As millions starved and died, some countries went to extremes experimenting on produce using nuclear and radioactive power. Lotteries were created for the last access to drinking water. Some humans developed a rather unsavory taste for meat, if you know what I mean.
What does that mean?
Well, they didn't have any meat options. So
they
ate each other.
Oh,
Tour guide, but weren't there meat alternatives? Why didn't humans just turn to plant-based diets or greener initiatives such as vertical farming? It says here that the meat industry and methane emission were one of the biggest proponents of climate change with the easiest solutions. Those options didn't catch on?
Plant-based diets and meat alternatives were introduced to the public early on. Unfortunately, when polled among the population, 92% of humans deemed them too gay.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Ugh. Okay, Captain. I really thought humans could grow their own food. I don't get why they didn't just eat enough so everybody could have some.
It seems like they were really into ordering food off the internet.
While vertical farming and other greener solutions were developed, many corporations refused to implement these as they were difficult to exploit for profit.
Humans kind of sucked.
It's not fair to generalize, Soph. Some humans sucked. Some were lazy. Some were greedy.
Many of the rich and wealthy left Earth on spaceships to flee to new worlds in hope of better outcomes. Many humans who remained turned their backs on their gruesome reality and chose to escape their problems in a virtual world, leaving their physical bodies to turn to dust.
Got any more of those sweet VR headsets?
Ugh, Captain.
When the last resources were consumed, humanity fell into all-out nuclear war. Many cities were bombed out of existence, while others were made uninhabitable due to the nuclear fallout. What was left behind was a handful of humans waiting for their turn to pass into the void.
Damn.
In our final room of the museum, we have our most coveted piece, the only known recording from the last human on Earth. Hello? Listen. If you're listening to this, I'm the last dude left. I'm going crazy here. You'd think if I was the last dude, it'd mean a lot of food, but no. Everything's gone. No more fast food, no more grocery stores, and you listen, we f***ed everything up. We f***ed Earth up with this global warming shit, pollution. They told us about it. They don't look up. They even made satirical films. J-Law, DiCaprio, that's good stuff. We could have seen it from a football field away, but we're too stupid, we're too stupid. So no, we ignored it. My friends, my family, politics, this. Well, we're just getting f***ed. We're getting f***ed. I cared about my investments. Like that matters. I had to eat my dog, for Christ's sakes.
You see that?
I had to eat
I
Skipper.
told you.
If you're listening to this, don't make the same mistakes that we did. If you put a problem off until tomorrow, it's still a problem today. So that wraps up our tour. If you follow the arrows to your right, you can find our charming gift shop. I hope you enjoyed the tour today, and thank you so much for visiting the Majestic Lake Museum.
Well, that was heavy.
Yeah, I'd say. I can't believe people just let this planet go like that.
Really makes you think. Absolutely crazy what misinformation and shameless corporate lobbying can do to a species.
But Fubby, it kind of seems like everyone had a hand in it. There were plenty of times humans could have turned back. This constant theme of valuing profits over people, stuff, money, and chasing economic growth at the expense of human lives destroyed a thriving civilization.
I guess one could say every small decision today can have long-lasting impacts on the future. Good thing humans didn't give a f***, or else Earth wouldn't be the perfect place for the Pupus.
Yeah, the Pupus!
Pupus!